Well, good evening and welcome to Australia for round 8 of the Next Gen Racing iRacing League, season 20 of Next Gen's existence, and this season featuring the infamous Legends, one of the first cars you'll ever drive on iRacing if you are an oval racing fan. But today we're not on ovals, we're on good old circuit racing in these very small and nimble cars. My name's Alex Everett, your commentator today on behalf of Crest Autosport, presenting it on Crest Autosport's YouTube and Twitch channel, and of course Next Gen's Facebook channel. Tonight, Oran Park in Narellan, New South Wales, Australia, a suburb of Sydney, 50 kilometres southwest of Sydney Harbour. Oran Park is a circuit now demolished in 2010, so 11 years ago we said goodbye to this brilliant track. Its legacy lives on, however, on iRacing, very, very popular with almost every kind of racing series. Features in most of the ranked server series on iRacing, and is still a favourite to this day. Very, very popular for one feature of this track, its crossover bridge, very similar to that of Suzuka, where you come round on this track anyway, you come round turns 1 and 2, you go underneath the bridge, then round the figure of 8 loop as it once was, and back over to finish the rest of the lap. A relatively simple layout to this track, very difficult for overtaking as well. So, and we know these drivers are very good at overtaking, so they're going to be putting it to the max and absolutely trying everything they can on this final circuit race of the season. We'll be moving on to the ovals next. And without further ado, let's go over the schedule we have been running this season so far. We started off all them months ago. In March we started at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Donington Park National Circuit followed for round 2. Round 3 was Lime Rock Park for our first visit to the US. Back to the UK for rounds 4 and 5, which were Alton Park and Silverstone. We had a week off after round 5, but we were back for round 6 at the final UK track of the season, Snetterton 200 layout. Last week was the Daytona road course, or NASCAR road course, not the bike course, and what a round that was. Saw quite a bit of drama here and there, and total domination almost from the pairing at the top of the championship, which we'll talk about very shortly. Round 8 today is Oran Park in Australia, but next week and the week after, 2 weeks time, will be the finale. But next week, the penultimate round of the season, and we'll be moving on to the ovals for one of 2 occasions. Bristol Motor Speedway, very popular recently for hosting the first NASCAR dirt race for a very, very long time. But next week, it'll just be the regular bog standard concrete oval that we know Bristol so well for. And the Lanier Speed Park will be the finale on the dirt oval of that circuit. Round 10 is in 2 weeks from today. The layout you can see on the right there for the races is a little bit different. That was what it was for the first round of the season, but it's changed to make the racing a bit more exciting. It was exciting anyway, but even more exciting. Race 1 does have a qualification of 10 minutes and proceeds with a 15-minute sprint race. But race 2 follows after with a 15-minute race, not a qualifying, where the 15-minute race grid is based on a reverse 10 of the finishers from race 1. And then race 3 is another 15-minute race with no qualifying, but a reverse of the full grid, rather than reverse 10 it says on the graphic there. Jamie Dory's your host of this series, very popular character in the Next Gen racing community. If you wish to get involved in the series, find Next Gen Racing on Facebook, as it's spelled in the top left there. You'll find the group and the page that you need to be in touch with to get involved in this series. Contact Jamie Dory to get involved in Wednesday night's Legend series, or there is alternatively Friday night if you are into iRacing, the GTE series, hosted by Matt Emmons, sponsored by Grid Engineering and broadcasted by my good friend Jack Oliphant on Jack O Racing. iRacing that series as well. I've had a few weeks off and I'll be back this week, I think, so do look out for us then. But tonight it's all about these legends. So yes, Oran Park, as we mentioned, now a non-existent track, but legacy lives on in iRacing. And not too many drivers actually tonight. It is a little bit low on the entries. A couple of drivers taking their week off this week by the looks of things, but we do still have the main people for the championship, that is, involved in tonight's racing. Thank you, Katie, in the comments on Facebook. Yes, it'd be good to have me back on Friday, hoping to get a race win at some point. I think it's Imola this Friday over on Jacko Racing, so a beautiful, beautiful racetrack. Surely want to tune in. And tonight, equally, another beautiful racetrack, but one not many of us know so well here at Oran Park. But yes, back to the championship situation. We'll go through the championship standings coming into tonight, but there's our man in a new livery today, Mikey Doble, in the 88 machine. And Mikey had his first round of the Ginetta GT5s at Thruxton on the weekend. He didn't have the best of weekends. He was showing phenomenal pace, to be fair to him. But just a little bit of bad luck here and there did hamper his performance. But I'm sure he'll be back at the next round, scoring big, big points and probably wins. But our championship leader heads into tonight's round, round 8. Only 12 points in the lead of the championship, ahead of Bobby Thompson, who had 3 consecutive podium finishes last week at Daytona, finishing first, second and second. Bobby was almost unstoppable last week, a pole position as well, so near maximum points for him. Mikey did very, very well to hang on, but still a loss of some points. The battle between them two is relentless at this point. Dan Holland has well and truly established himself in third place at the moment, provided nothing goes wrong. He stretches his lead ahead of Ollie Peters to 40 points for third place. Fourth place, Ollie Peters, followed by fifth place, Matt Allen, who's having a pretty good season. Not such a great round at Daytona, but throughout the season he's picked up quite a few wins, and he'll be on the chance to try and catch up with Ollie in fourth place. William Foyle didn't start off the season all that well, but throughout the season been getting better and better. Sixth place is a strong showing. If you said that to him at the start of the season, he probably wouldn't have believed you. But only 3 points ahead of Stephen Daly. I do apologise, it was him who got pole position, not Bobby Thompson last week. But some three top 10 finishes and a podium in race 1 for Stephen Daly. 5 points behind him is Jamie Dory. Not such a good night at Daytona last week. Not once was he in the top 10, which is really rare for Jamie Dory, our host of this series. And he is followed 6 points behind by Dave Newsham, who won his first race of the season. Yeah! About time for Dave. A lot of bad luck throughout this season, but he finally got it in round 7 of race 3. 9th place for him in the championship, and he is some points, 23 points ahead of Jeff Perkis, who has got himself into the top 10 ahead of Lee Horn, who has just dropped out to 11th place, but only 3 points behind Jeff, so the battle is on between them two. So yeah, all very exciting. We're a minute away from qualifying, and Dan Holland at the top of the standings at the moment in the number 9 car. A new livery for him today with a beautiful chrome effect applied with the fairly recently spec map paint schemes you can put onto these cars now, which is pretty cool. Gives them a very, very unique look when it comes to sim racing. Mikey Doble in second place there. Bobby Thompson is in the server. Do not fret, people, if you can't see his name on the standings there. But Bobby Thompson is in the server but hasn't set a lap. I believe he is busy at the moment, so he'll be along very shortly. Mikey Doble 3/10 down from Dan Holland at the moment. You'd be conscious that Bobby Thompson could probably match Dan Holland's pace, so Mikey will be on his toes a little bit in qualifying and the races to try and secure that, but not so many drivers tonight will mean that the reverse grids are a bit more favourable to these drivers when they need to get further up the grid. But Oran Park is a very, very difficult track to overtake on, as we'll see in the races coming up, and we'll do a tour off the track with Mikey Doble very, very shortly as we ascend into qualifying. A 10-minute qualifying session, as it has been all season. Not much time at all to get your laps in, but a relatively shorter lap this week than it was last week. 1:15 is the a decent time round here, whereas last week it was it was in the 2-minute times. So we are underway with qualifying. Freehorn heads out on track. Mind you, he pulls off, so at the front of the queue, William Thor there in a slightly different livery today. And he is just ahead of Jamie Dory there, second out on track. Let's get a little bit of a wider camera angle so we can see the cars in more of their glory. Dan Holland, third out on track, just ahead of his teammate Jonathan Gibbs in a similar livery, but green livery. He is ahead of Jeff Perkis there, and then the 99 machine of Gavin Allen. I can't see Matt Allen in the server, unfortunately. Matt fighting for 5th in the championship. Might slip away from a little bit if he's not here tonight, which is a real big shame. Matt Allen's been one of the great entertainers, but it is all down to family member Gavin to wave the flag for the Allens tonight. Mikey Doble nice and slow coming out of the pits, keeping into the rear of the pack. As he just crosses over the bridge, you can see there a spin just ahead of him from the number 14 car of Dave Whitehouse. But over the bridge he goes. Now, Oran Park's difficulty, as we said, was overtaken, but also there's a lot of blind crests on this track, so it's quite difficult to see the next corner. So you've got to be very proactive and know your markers, your braking markers, your turn markers, your acceleration markers. And also, in these cars being so light, you can lose the rear end quite easily. Just conscious of why Mikey Doble's going a little bit slow on this outlap here. I think he might be waiting for a draft off someone. Passes by goes Dave Whitehouse. He comes to a stop on track, which will cause a yellow flag. Not sure he's allowed to do that. Normally in most series you can't stop on the track to cause a yellow flag, particularly in qualifying. So we'll move on to Ollie Peters, 4th in the championship coming into tonight. He'll be desperate to hang on to 4th, although his rival for 4th, and that the driver behind him of Matt Allen, isn't racing tonight, so that certainly gives Ollie a little bit of breathing space in that 4th place spot, and he can focus on getting some good results tonight to rack up the points ready for the final 2 rounds, the ovals. It'd be very interesting to see who can get themselves the best. I'll repeat myself there. To see who is the best on the ovals, because completely different medium on iRacing. You have a circuit racing iRating, and you have an oval racing iRating. You also have dirt oval and dirt circuit being rallycross. And those iRatings are basically a determination of your skill. But let's go for a lap on board with our championship leader, Mikey Doble. He comes down the start-finish straight, along the wall, so close to his right there, and then a flat-out left-hander here, the sweeper it's known as, braking hard into this left-hander, the Coca-Cola corner. Don't take too much of the curb on the left there, under the bridge, up towards the Shell corner, a right-hander coming up just after the tyres here. Oh, a bit of oversteer there, locked up the tyres a little bit, and now up towards the champion curve. Right-hander, long right-hander, as we'll now approach the Yokohama Bridge. Up the hill we go. Over the bridge now, right-hander, as we go down towards Foster's Dip. That's one of the blind crests we were talking about, taking plenty of the curb there. Left-hander here as we approach Momo Corner. Plenty of sponsorships on show in the form of corner names on this circuit now towards the O'Brien Aluminium dogleg. Nearly got that right. Flat out, right and left. Now up towards the Recaro corner. Long left-hander. This is one of my favourite corners on iRacing. It's very easy to hit the wall on the outside there. Got a very short lap and a very good lap from Mikey Doble. A little bit of a slip-up earlier on in the lap. But where does that put Mikey Doble at the moment? 4th place at the moment on a 1:16.105. More than half a second off the pace of Dan Holland. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure you are pretty sure, that Mikey Doble can do better than that. Jamie Dory in a very solid 2nd place there. Not a good night 1 week ago at Daytona, but looking for a little bit of redemption tonight, I'm sure. Establishing himself in the championship in the top 10. And in 8th place, he has been hovering around the top 5, just underneath the top 5 throughout the season, and it's not actually over. He is still within reach, particularly that Matt Allen, who is less than 25 points. In fact, no, he is 27 points ahead of him. Missing tonight, this would make Jamie Dory be able to catch up with Matt Allen. And if he can score better than William Fall and Stephen Daly tonight, Stephen Daly's not actually racing, so William Fall will be the one he looks out for tonight. He'll surely be able to close in if he can score better, but William Fall will know that a top 5 is on the cards tonight, well, more so than Jamie Dory, so cards are on for him to get the second Crest Autosport car, the other one in front of him of Ollie Peters, into the top 5. But we've got an outlap from second to fourth there. Jamie Dory, Kenny Brady, who was on his debut last week. The only American resident in the series. Races the Legends in America, I believe. Mikey Doble on an outlap as well, going through the figure of 8 section as it used to be in its very early days. Only a kilometre long the figure of 8 configuration at Oran Park used to be, until they built this extension, which forms most of the outline of the circuit that we know of nowadays. But Mikey there in his new livery, very similar to his Ginetta livery, which sports a NXTGEN Racing logo, which is very nice. Now, Dan Holland, how is he getting on? First in the standings at the moment. Dan Holland has really come to light in the last few races or so to solidify his third place, and has really been contending with Doble and Thompson in the last few races. Really, if he didn't have a bit of bad luck earlier on in the season, I think he may have missed one race. He could have been up there battling for the championship. A very smart livery on that car with the Union Jack. I don't know what the effect is, overlaid almost with the blue colour of his livery, and there's a spec matte reflective effect on his, chrome effect should I say, on his door there. That's one of my favourite liveries on these Legends now. Very smart. Kenny Brady will cross the line to complete a lap. Will he improve his time to go second place? Not by the looks of it. There's a little bit of a delay on the standings today, not too sure, but nope, that must have been an invalidated lap time for Kenny Brady. Mikey Doble, how is he getting on? Gavin Allen has just done a personal best, goes up to 10th place. In the pits is Jonathan Gibbs. Jonathan Gibbs has been missing a few races now. Back in action today in the green livery, similar to that of Dan Holland's livery. Doble goes through the final corner, taking a late apex on the final corner there. Over the slight crest and towards the start-finish line now. Across the line he goes, and that puts him second place at the moment. Mikey Doble with a 1:15.8 gets himself in the 15s, but has still got some time to close in on Dan Holland. A lock-up going into the Coca-Cola corner there. That will certainly not help him. With not much time to go, he'll be able to complete this lap and start a brand new lap to complete that lap and try and get even quicker. Bobby Thompson's out on the track, so whether he's learnt the circuit or not remains to be seen, and he's also in a new livery. Yeah, they're also no more Ivy Avenue liveries, but that's very cool livery. Across the line, Bobby Thompson goes. Was that an outlap? Yes, I believe it was. So we'll come back to Bobby very shortly. It'd be interesting to see what Bobby can do, because he's had no practice prior to this session. I don't know about prior to the night. I don't know if he's practiced. In fact, looking at the Discord, yes, he has been doing some laps before tonight, knowing that he would be turning up a little bit late for qualifying. But Mikey Doble comes around and he'll start a new lap. This will probably not be quicker, so let's switch over to Dan Holland, who's going to complete another lap here. Let's see if this will be any quicker. He comes across the line. Pole Center at the moment doesn't go quicker, but will have time to complete another lap. Jamie Dory in the top 3 at the moment. He'll be very pleased with this. We'll be conscious of Bobby Thompson. But very good position for him at the moment as he bids to try and get himself back in the top 5 of the championship. Thompson now approaches the final corner of this circuit. He's currently 14th on the grid without a time set. He'll cross the line. Will he be able to cross the line in time to set another lap? Across he goes now. He'll be able to do another lap, but that completes one and puts him second place. What a start and statement from Bobby Thompson. Less than a 10th off top spot straight away. Mikey must be furious with the sight of that. Brilliant opening lap from Bobby. And what can he do on this one? Can he get it even quicker with his tyres warmed up? Lee Horn puts himself 6th place with a PB of a 1:16.1. They'll be pleased with that. The Next Gen machines ahead of their rivals, the Crest Autosport machines. I'm broadcasting to both, so I cannot favour either. Ollie Peters will come round the final corner now. Mikey Doble has completed another lap and did go quicker, in fact, but Ollie Peters drawn in closer to Bobby Thompson, but could not get any quicker than Bobby. Across the line goes Ollie Peters. 8th at the moment. Does not go quicker. William Foyle is still out on track. He crosses the line now. Does not go quicker, but we got one man to wait for. Bobby Thompson, can he take pole position here at Oran Park with only 2 laps on the track in the last 2+ minutes? Here we go, final stretch. Cross the line he goes now. Bobby Thompson goes pole position. Look at that. 2 laps in and he's done it straight away. That's what we pay to watch. Or we don't pay to watch. Wow. 8 hundredths ahead of Dan Holland on the final lap of qualifying. That is seriously impressive from Bobby. Wow. Startled. So the top 3 is our top 3 in the championship. That would be very, very interesting come race time, but we'll show the classified grid results for you very shortly as we ascend into race 1 of the night. So here we go. This will be... Let's try again. This will be the grid for race 1 of the night. Bobby Thompson on pole position. Dan Holland takes 2nd on the grid. And on row 2 is Mikey Doble. Alongside him is Jamie Dory. Kenny Brady in 5th place with Lee Horn taking 6th. Jonathan Gibbs in 7th with Ollie Peters in 8th. William Foyle is in 9th with Tom Delaney in 10th. Gavin Allen in 11th. Jeff Perkins in the Mystery Machine 12th. 13th, David Whitehouse, and 14th will be Will Rowlands. So we're about to go here at Oran Park for the first race of round 8. And drivers revving up their engines already. A few drivers still yet to come to the grid. Will Rowlands we're waiting on, but we're about to go very shortly here at Oran Park. Round 1 of the night. Race 1 of the night, should I say. I anticipate that this is going to be a very, very interesting race between this, amongst this top 3. Scrambling for championship points, especially Thompson and Doble, but Holland trying to get his way back towards the top 2 in the championship. Let's see what can be done, but we are now ready to go here at Oran Park. Thompson starts on pole,
Green
Holland
flag,
2nd, Doble 3rd, green flag, and away we go. And it's a good start for Dan Holland as we come down towards turn 1 very, very rapidly. Thompson goes across to defend from the other blue car. Into the first corner we go. Oh, and late break in there from William Foyle as he gets up the inside. There's a spin back there. Gavin Allen and Jeff Perkins and Tom Delaney have come together at the back there. We'll come back to that very shortly. Thompson still leads coming out of turn 3 from Holland, and Doble in 3rd place. Jamie Dory remains in 4th. The top 6 is unchanged. Ollie Peters has slipped up 1 place past Jonathan Gibbs. Let's get to the end of the lap before we resume with any crashes that happened further back. Thompson goes through the S's here. first place still. Him and Holland breaking away a little bit from Mikey Doble there. Let's get a little bit of a better camera angle. There we go. Doble dropping back a little bit on this half a lap or so. That's Kenny Brady behind Jamie Dory. Dory goes a bit wide and Brady gets the undercut there. Let's get on board with Kenny Brady, and I think he might have found his way past Dory already. No, he hasn't. They're side by side. There is Brady to the left of Dory as they come into the left hand of the sweeper, breaking in towards the Coca-Cola curve. Brady has the inside and the more favourable line, and he takes it. He takes 4th place as we start lap 2 here at Oran Park. Dory drops to 5th. At the front here, Thompson is not breaking away from Holland just yet. We're very early phases into this race. Doble is now up to a 2nd behind, still within biting distance. So let's just get a little bit of a replay of what happened to Jeff Purkis, Whitehouse and Gavin Allen. Sorry, Tom Delaney and Gavin Allen. Oh, and Allen just slipped it onto the gravel, and Tom Delaney could do nothing about that, as David Whitehouse was collected but got away with it substantially more than these drivers did. But that was just real unfortunate, that incident. Lee Horn in 6th place. He sadly had to miss out on Snetterton, and he didn't have a particularly good night at Daytona, so this is him trying to get his top 10 chances back on the cards. With Dave Newsham out tonight, he might be resuming racing later on in the night, but he will be missing this race definitely because it's already started. So, and Lee Horn is a fair bit ahead of Jeff Purkis, so he might be able to make up some positions in this race. As we said, very difficult to overtake here. We saw Brady make a move on Jamie Dory that came as a result of Dory's mistake on the other side of the track almost. He had to line that up for 2 corners. Brady in 4th place here, 2.3 behind the leader. Will try and close in on Doble. He'll be wishing that these 3 at the front would start battling. We've seen it a lot from these 3 drivers where they don't make any mistakes, as Thompson very close to the outer wall there, coming out of the final corner. He'll complete lap 3 to start lap 4. And there's a car coming out the pits there. That is Dave Whitehouse, who had an incident, and there's been an incident further back. Jonathan Gibbs spinning it, coming out of the final corner. Let's just see if we can get a better replay of it. Oh, a bit sideways there. Already out of shape, but he corrected it for this corner and hit the grass. Yes, the grass had just spun the car around. I think digging the cars in too deep in that little ditch that's on the inside of that corner brought the car round. These are very, very sensitive cars to bumps and dips and that sort of thing, and definitely crests, where this track has got plenty of them, so you've got to be real wary of what the car's doing. And on the ovals next week, we're going to see a lot of sideways action, particularly on the dirt oval in 2 weeks' time, the finale at Lanier Speed Park. Thompson still leads. Further back, Lee Horn closing in on his teammate Jamie Dory. Dory, who lost the position to Brady, is not exactly closing back in on him. Thompson with a quicker lap than both the drivers behind him. That is exactly what he needs to do. Finishing 2 places ahead of Doble will certainly help his championship prospects. Thompson with the most wins this season. No driver has managed more than 3 wins this season apart from Thompson. Thompson has 7 to his name. The gap coming into tonight, 12 points between them. There is a bonus point for pole position, so it's now 11 points between them. between Thompson and Doble. And they'll be dropping ever so slightly more with the results as they are right now. Dory trying to close back in on Brady, has gained a little bit on him in this last lap or so, as has Lee Horn. So there might be a big battle raging for 4th place as we progress towards the second half of the race. Dory will be pleased with this position so far. He'll be closing in on the drivers ahead of him in the championship that are taking part tonight in Peters and Foyle. There's a big battle going on between Tom Delaney and Will Rowlands. And it was actually because Tom Delaney's ping was a little bit up in the air. Disconnecting in and out. A few technical issues for Tom there. Would have kept Will Rowlands on his toes at least. Will Rowlands started 14th, I believe, and he's moved up to 10th so far, the biggest mover. So not a bad showing from Will so far. Let's take a look at the front. We've got Thompson ahead, still by 3/10 from Holland. Doble has dropped back a little bit to over a second again. Brady is not too far ahead of Jamie Dory still, and Lee Horn is particularly close as well. Bit of a game of chess at the moment where none of them are trying to make any mistakes whatsoever, but still trying to go as fast as they can around this treacherous track where there's crests to worry about, as we mentioned, but also the outer walls on the edge of the circuit, particularly out of the final corner, that drivers need to worry about. Brady was struggling a little bit through turn 1 there and actually made Dory close in on him. Bunches up a little bit between these three, battling for the 4th place spot. Back towards the front. Holland has closed in ever so slightly to Thompson, but he needs to be much closer than that to make a move in these cars. There's not a particularly large braking zone ever in these cars, so you need to be real close and get a good slipstream. You can see Holland's lines are differentiating a little bit. He's trying to take later apex, which normally means your car is in a straight line a lot sooner going through and out of the corner, which means you have better speed coming out of the corner. You can just see there, Thompson's taking a much more of a curvature line than Holland. Holland is coming through the corner a bit deeper to try and get the best straight line speed he can. And their times near identical. Holland's slightly quicker of the two. Dory real close to Brady there, not quite close enough to make a move, although he thought about it, but Brady slipped up coming out of the Coca-Cola corner again. Dory finds the outside but is not able to make a move. He slots back in behind and Brady resumes the racing line. Round the right hand of the Shell corner we go now. Up towards the Yokohama Bridge. Brady will have his eyes fixed on that mirror of the orange NXTGEN car right behind him. Getting a good run through these corners is Jamie Dory. He seems to have his tyres really working well in this car. And Dory, like we saw with Holland, taking deeper lines. Brady all over the place coming through the S's there. Managed to keep it on the track, but Dory closed in massively there. But takes a wide line going into the final corner there. Brady sideways again, and Dory had a very good run. Let's see if we can get an onboard to see how much he's closing in. That's how much he's closing in. He now finds the inside as we come down towards the sweeper. The sweeper, he'll have the inside, and he'll have the inside for the Coca-Cola corner. He's in front already, did not need to complete it in the corner. That's 4th place back for Jamie Dory, and Brady will now have to fight back. He's been under the cosh the last few laps, struggling with the rear end on some of these corners. But he'll slap himself into action, I'm sure, at this point, try and take back the position as Dory goes wide. Brady found the inside, but was not able to retain it. Oh, and a lock up there for Brady. And has he collected Lee Horn? No, he hasn't. Lee miraculously avoids that. But a spin for Brady. Let's get on board just to catch a glimpse of that. Look how much that rear end is squirreling about. He just can't control it coming out of these corners. And yeah, just a lock up on the brakes. I think Dory slowing down a bit more than he thought surprised him. And I think Brady might have brought it back to the pits. I think Brady has brought it into the pits. But we must resume with this battle here. It's real close. And in fact, Dan Holland has made the move on Thompson. We'll get a replay of that once we see what happens between these two coming into this corner. It's real close between them. Oh, Bobby Thompson attempted the undercut but couldn't quite make it. So here it was, an undercut coming out of the bridge section. We saw Holland trying to line up that move for a fair few laps, and he made it successful. Not in the corner that we thought he would, though. Side by side coming into turn 3. But Holland hangs on to it, having had the inside. Holland, as we said, has been brilliant this latter part of the season, really contending with Thompson and Doble. Look how close their bumpers were coming up the hill there. Round the corner we go. Thompson sticking behind like glue. Doble's closing in third place there. He'll be waiting for this moment to pounce on his championship rival. 2.5 minutes to go in this session. There'll be about 2 or 3 laps to go in this race. Might actually be 2 laps we have in the remainder of this race. So less time for Thompson to line it up. They get as close as they can to the wall to use all the track to get the most on their opponents behind or in front of them. Down towards the sweeper we go. Thompson was the one who robbed pole position away from Holland in qualifying. Can he rob away a win in this, or can Holland do the reverse on Thompson? Holland's particularly good in this section of the track, which I suspect he would have utilised to find that move on Thompson earlier on. And the right-hander. There'll be 1 more lap to go after this, and Holland's actually broken away from Thompson, we can see here. Is Thompson holding back and going to line up a big move? It's fairly unconventional in these cars. You just want to get a good exit right behind another car, get as close as you can to them. But let's see if Thompson lines up a move here as we come through the final corner for the penultimate time. And there's a car off the side there. That was Dave Whitehouse. Just about gets out of the way of these 3 at the front here. Thompson doesn't seem to be close enough to make a move. Holland's hanging on as he starts the final lap in this race here at Oran Park. Race 1 of the night. Into the sweeper, now into the Coca-Cola corner. Thompson does not make the dive bomb. He follows round the corner. Real close to the rear end of Holland there. Holland goes to the fence straight away. Comes back over to the racing line. Thompson doesn't make the lunge. He's waiting for the moment later on in the lap, I'm sure. Holland gets a good exit out that corner. Thompson using a lot of the road. You could see the dust bellowing off his tyres to use all the road. To the right-hander, where Holland overtook Thompson earlier on. Through the S's, Thompson, it's not looking good for Thompson. This is a much harder part of the track to overtake on. But Thompson had a very good run coming out of the Momo corner there. We'll come up towards the Recaro corner now through the aluminium S's here. Thompson will need to line it up now. No, he doesn't. He sticks behind. He thinks about the championship. But can he get a good run? It's not quite over yet. The checkered flag is ready and waiting for these drivers. Across the line goes Dan Holland to take a win here. His 4th win of the season to take at Oran Park. Another 2nd place for Bobby Thompson and 3rd place for Mikey Doble. He loses some points in the championship, but not many to Thompson in front of him. Jamie Dory will come across the line to finish 4th with his teammate Lee Horn in 5th place. Ollie Peters came across the line, is the way to describe that, in 6th place William Foyle, seventh place for him. Jonathan Gibbs, not such a good race for him, dropping 1 place. He finishes 8th. Gavin Allen, despite the dramas at the beginning, although it was a non-purposeful mistake putting it on the gravel, he did cause the incident at the beginning of the race, but he recovers well to 9th. And likewise with 10th for Jeff Perkis, who will have pole position for race 2 coming up in just a few moments' time. Delaney Whitehouse, 11th and 12th. Brady, who was fighting for 4th, eventually retired to the pits, 13th. And Will Rowlands, who was having a good race, had also retired. But what an interesting end to that race. It got ever so slightly more and more exciting as the race went on. But Dan Holland, opening race winner, he just missed out on pole position with the fight from Thompson to get it to the top spot in qualifying, but in the race here it's all Holland's to celebrate. We'll classify the results for you very, very shortly once the drivers have readied up to the pits. But we will be, after we show the results here of this race, we will be going for a very, very short break where you can enjoy some adverts from some of the organisation sponsors. And we'll be resuming with race 2 very shortly. But here are the classified results of race 1 of the night. Dan Holland takes the win by 15 hundredths ahead of Bobby Thompson, who's second in the championship, but his championship rival first in the championship coming into tonight, Mikey Doble, 3rd place. Jamie Dury in 4th, Lee Horn in 5th. We'll carry on with the order. Ollie Peters in 6th, William Foyle, his teammate, in 7th, Jonathan Gibbs 8th, Gavin Allen 9th, Jeff Perkis 10th, and as we mentioned, Jeff Perkis will start pole position for race 2 coming up very shortly. That's race 1 of the night. We'll be back very, very shortly for race 2 of the night at Oran Park. Don't go away. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1.
There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport.
Well, welcome back to the Next Gen Racing iRacing Legends. Season 20, as we said earlier, of Next Gen's existence, with Season 21 on the horizon. Tonight we're at Oran Park for round 8 of the championship. And this broadcast is brought to you by myself, Alex Everett of Crest Autosport, hosting to Crest Autosport's YouTube and Twitch channel, and of course Next Gen's Facebook channel. So we're on race 2 here tonight, which will get underway shortly. But just a little bit of a recap and an overlook of what we've got coming up in the future on Next Gen Racing's iRacing Legends Wednesday Night Series. Brands Hatch hosted round 1 all them months ago, followed by Donington Park. Lime Rock Park was round 3, with Alton Park round 4. Silverstone National was round 5. Round 6, the final UK round of the championship, Snetterton. Daytona was last week's round, and this week is the last of the circuit races. Oran Park today, and then the next 2 weeks will both be ovals. The regular concrete oval of Bristol Motor Speedway will be round 9, and then round 10 will be the Lanier Speed Park for the final round on dirt. If you want to get involved in this series, you need to contact Jamie Dury, who is on the Next Gen Racing Facebook group. Search Next Gen as it's spelled in the top left there, and you'll find the Facebook group. The Legend Series is every Wednesday night, and news of what will be coming up on Season 21 of Next Gen will be presented on the group. There is another iRacing series in the form of GTEs, broadcasted by Jacko Racing. Jack Oliphant, who is Tom Oliphant's brother. Tom Oliphant being the British touring car driver for West Surrey Racing. And you can watch that on Jacko Racing on Friday night, and I'll be racing in it, so it'll be good to be back in that. So we are here at Oran Park for race 2 coming up of this 8th round of the championship. Now, as we've mentioned most of the season, we have not been able to get the live championship standings on screen for you, but we'll try and do that for next season.
as I might have already been booked for next season, which is good news. But I can communicate to you the sit rep of the championship. So Mikey Doble, the first of the drivers to stretch into the 400 point marker, 406 points for Mikey Doble, but Bobby Thompson is 8 points behind now with his second place, 1 place higher than Mikey in race 1 there, and a pole position to get in the bonus point. He is now 8 points behind in the championship. It is so close with this round and 2 rounds to go after today. Dan Holland still in 3rd place, obviously, with his win in race 1. He's the only driver, apart from Bobby Thompson, to score more than 3 wins this season. That was his 4th. Ollie Peters firmly holds on to 4th place at the moment, stretching away from Matt Allen, who's not racing tonight, in 5th place. There's no drop rounds or anything like that in this series, so when you miss a round, it really compromises your championship abilities. William Ford closing into 5th place in the championship, though. He is only 5 points behind in 6th place. Jamie Dory, however, only 5 points behind him in 7th place. So the battle between Foyle and Dory is certainly one to look out for, as well as looking out for Doble and Thompson, battle for their championship top spot. William Foyle, we just seen cross the line there to do a few practice laps, top of the standings, with the 3 that are on the standings at the moment. Now Mikey Doble will start ahead of Bobby Thompson on the grid. That'll be what he will be pleased about, shall we say. If he can keep it ahead of Bobby Thompson, he'll stretch away ever so slightly in the championship. It will just be a game of chess between these two for the rest of the season. The big moves will be what separates these two when it comes to winning the championship. Mikey Doble, who races in the Ginettas in the Tucker Series, versus Bobby Thompson, who was a BTCC driver last season in the trade price cars Audi RS3. Thompson not out on track doing any practice at the moment, but we have Jonathan Gibbs, who had a relatively quiet race 1, finishing 7th. No, he didn't finish 7th. I think he finished 9th. Can't quite remember. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I think he finished 8th, actually. We'll go down the middle and say he finished 8th. But top of the stands at the moment with a 1:15.8. That's a pretty decent time from Jonathan Gibbs. Jonathan, who's had a few good results throughout the season. I remember back at I think it was Donington Park, he had a few decent results, and in fact he's 13th in the championship, so no slouch. He's missed a few rounds, but certainly is hitting it when it comes to championship points. But let's go through the grid for the next race of the night. Jeff Perkins starts on pole with Gavin Allen in 2nd. Jonathan Gibbs starts 3rd with William Foyle in 4th. Ollie Peters 5th with Lee Horn in 6th. Jamie Dory will start 7th with Mikey Doble in 8th. Bobby Thompson 9th. Dan Holland 10th. Tom Delaney 11th. And rounding off the grid, Dave Whitehouse. We're about to go here for race 2 of the night. Jeff Perkins there in the Mystery Machine starts on pole. He's got Gavin Allen next to him. Gavin Allen, who recovered very well in race 2. But we're about to go here for the next race of the night.
Green flag, green flag.
Away we go. Coming down towards turn 1 now. We'll have a bird's eye view of it. Jeff Perkins comes across slightly to hopefully defend his line. And look at that, Jonathan Gibbs with a brilliant run going into the sweeper here. He'll have the inside. Switch over to the other cameras now. And on the inside, Jonathan Gibbs, he might well take first straight away here going into turn 1. Can't quite tell, but I think he has. Jonathan Gibbs, yes, he has stretched into the lead. Brilliant opening corners from him. Looking back here, Mikey Doble's on the outside of Jamie Dory in the 13 machine, but looking at Ollie Peters there right behind his teammate, following on in 4th and 5th place. Back here we've got Thompson. Oh, and that's a spin for William Foyle. Foyle has spun in the middle of the track there, and he did collect Dave Whitehouse as well, and I think Tom Delaney's running slow back there as well. We'll get a replay of William Foyle's spin shortly. Holland goes through. Thompson has broke away from the pair he needed to beat. Holland and Doble. Doble's down in 9th, and it might have been the spin from William Ford that compromised him a little bit. At the front, Jonathan Gibbs with a lightning start off the line to get himself past Perkis and Allen straight away. And this will be what he needs. He just needs to break away now. If he can break away, Jeff Perkis will not let it give up so easily. Allen now in front of Peters, Dory and Thompson there, who has Holland behind. So let's see if we can get a replay of William Foyle's incident. He just locked up. Oh, he just about... He did collect Dave Whitehouse, but we did see evading to the outside was... Oh, and that was a spin for Jamie Dory, I think. Yeah, Jamie Dory's spin involved with Dan Holland. We'll get a replay off that. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. It's not race room. We can actually see incidents. But coming together between them two, Dan Holland fighting for third in the championship. Oh, and it was contact between him and Thompson. Now, it's hard to tell what happened there. It looked like Thompson was fairly tight against the edge of the track. A lot of damage on Jamie Dory's car. But Thompson's now up to 3rd place. And look at that. Who's in 5th place? Going to try and make a move on Ollie Peters here. That's Mikey Doble. Catching back up with Thompson, who was probably slowed down a little bit from the contact with Jamie Dory. Look at that. Thompson's hit the wall and spun. Thompson, 2nd in the championship, trying to hunt down Mikey Doble, has put it into the wall. So here we go. Let's just keep an eye on it, see what happened. Around the corner. Oh, back end steps out, just pushed it too hard. That'll damage his car. That has really cost things for him. Mikey Doble cannot believe his eyes, I presume. 3rd place is his at the moment, 5 places gained. And he's got his championship rival out of the picture at the moment. But there's a full reverse grid for race 3, which means if Thompson finishes where he is right now, well, he'll be near the front. And those who finish the race will get reverse grid privileges. So, Doble's here. Thompson's here a fairly long way back. Just over 10 seconds behind his championship rival. Can he hunt him down? I'm not too sure. But Gibbs out front here. Quiet race, and he'll be glad to have that. 1.5 seconds ahead of Perkis at the moment. He's broken away ever so slightly on the last few laps. Doble's the fastest man on the track at the moment, though. 1:15.9, 1:15.5 for Mikey Doble, so he is closing in on the green machine and the mystery machine ahead of him. And we have got Bobby Thompson not quite making inroads here. There's a lot of damage on that car, and you can actually see half the car is leaning to one side. You can on that corner, of course, because it's the anti-roll bar taking effect. I think that car might be out of alignment, so that will certainly be slowing him down as well as the bodywork. But what can Bobby Thompson make up for the rest of the race? We'll see. William Foyle down there in 12th place has got a lot of recovery to make, and in fact puts him in a lot of danger from this man who's got a lot of damage on the car, but a huge amount of damage on the front of the car. But Jamie Dory is his rival in the championship right now. They're both going for 5th place in this race. Jamie Dory, as it stands, will take 5th in the standings. I hope my maths is correct. We'll find out later. But this is all Jamie Dory needs to do, and hitting the grass like that was certainly not helping. He's got a lot of damage on that car, which is preventing him from getting the ideal line through the corners. But as well as Mikey Doble, the in and out of Tom Delaney has gained 5 places so far. Saw your in and out, Tom. So big move is him so far, as is Mikey Doble, and it looks like he might make it 6 with the 5 places gained already. Up the inside of Jeff Perkis. Jeff gives him room. Jeff had a good run coming out of the shell corner there, but Doble finds the inside. outbraking Jeff into the corner and finds second place. He now has 2.3 seconds to close in on the leader. Can Mikey Doble do it? It's one of the many miraculous drives he has made throughout the season. Could this be one of them? A check on Thompson. He has made his way past Allen into 9th place, and he's got Holland ahead of him. Oh, and a spin there for Gavin Allen. Just getting it loose coming out of the corner there, and he'll lose time to Dave Whitehouse behind him. Gibbs starts lap 6. Mikey Doble closes in by 2/10 since the last time we checked in. Is lapping quicker, 2/10 quicker on that last lap. 2/10 might be able to close him into slipstreaming range. He did have said throughout the season many times that slipstream's not so effective on these cars, but it isn't. But on this track it is more so because there's a lot more acceleration in these cars as the track is slower. Down within 2 seconds now. Let's see who else is out on track. Jeff Perkins just behind. He's got Lee Horn closing on him behind. Lee Horn has been one of the drivers, as well as Jeff, to keep his nose out of trouble at the moment. As has Ollie Peters behind. Peters will be relatively calm, knowing that 4th is well and truly in his hands at the moment in the championship. He'll just be focused on getting finishes. It's the moment he starts not finishing races that it puts his championship in some doubt. So we'll have to be very, very conscious of that. Now these 3 cars back here, Dory, Holland and Thompson, quite a bit of damage on their car, which will be slowing their pace a bit. Having said that, Holland is not doing bad laps at all. Mikey Doble completed that lap with a 1:15.4. Hugely quick time. 5/10 more than Jonathan Gibbs ahead of him. You just see Gibbs there leave the shot. Doble is closing in to be within a second. There's no DRS on these cars. I say a second as in that's pretty close. But to make moves in these cars, you really need to be right on the bumper of the car ahead. Jeff Perkis hanging on to 3rd at the moment. He's being closed down by Lee Horn. Horn and Jeff, who are battling for 10th in the championship. Lee Horn did take 10th in the championship coming out of race 1 today, but seeing as it's still fairly close between them, 2 points between them, Horn will want to get himself back in front for the sake of that 10th place spot. And in fact, both of these might end up taking a 9th place in the championship from Dave Newsham if it ends as it is right now. Coming into the Coca-Cola corner now, turn 2 of lap 8 here. Just over 5.5 minutes to go in this race. Doble is just over a second behind Gibbs. Did not gain much on that last lap. Now under a second as he comes through the tight section here. Lee Horn closing in on Perkis at the moment. Lee Horn, who outside of this series is actually in an intense battle for the championship in the WTCR Mondays. Currently 3rd in the championship in that. As we look to Jamie Dory, who has had to surrender the position of 7th to Dan Holland. A lot more damage on his car, and he might have Bobby Thompson to defend from soon. This is Gibbs versus Doble again with less than 5 minutes to go, and there was an incident further back in the track. I think Whitehouse and Delaney have come together. Well, no, there hasn't. They are well apart, but there was an incident for Tom Delaney. No, I don't think there was. It's actually his internet playing tricks on us. But we got to switch back as Thompson has found his way ahead of Jamie Dory. Would you see how that happened? Inside, going into the sweeper. Inside for the next corner, yeah. Well, and truly decent overtake executed from Thompson there to get himself into 8th place, despite all the damage on his car. Likewise so with Jamie Dory, however. Gap closes between first and second. Gibbs at the beginning of the race probably thought, yep, this is good for us, but he has now got to put in some seriously hard work to defend from the championship leader, who will extend his championship lead at the end of this race if it finishes as it stands. Gibbs in the chrome effect, green livery there, defended from Mikey Doble, the Ginetta driver. It is just getting smaller and smaller, this gap between them. There will be 2 laps to go after this one, so Gibbs has got a lot of work to do. I mean, if he can keep his pace up, it'll be doubly hard to Doble to pass. It is very difficult to pass on this circuit. Oh, and a sideways moment for Gibbs there. That might have already been the moment. No, not quite. Doble tucks back in behind. Gibbs has let off the hook a little bit there. But at this point in the race, Gibbs' tyres are well and truly hitting the end of their life cycle. It is heavy on tyre wear is this track due to the crests and sweeping corners. Doble takes a late apex. There's a spin further up the track. I think that might be Dave Whitehouse, but we pass it safely as we start the penultimate lap of the race. Through the sweeper. Gibbs went to defend, he didn't need to, but he's lost control of the car, and that will relinquish the position to Doble. Doble's had it easier than he probably thought he would have had, and in fact, back here, we have got an intense battle with Lee Horn. Something's happened to him, he's gone straight into the wall. So here's what, battling with Jeff Perkis. Finds the outside, on the gravel, no, that's it, you can't save it. He'll be gutted about that, what was looking like a podium potential for him. He's now in the tyres, but he'll carry on with a bit of damage on the car. Now, reverse grid will certainly form his favour. But the next gen cars, not looking too pretty right now. Gibbs has slipped back from Doble, who will have easy pickings here. Ollie Peters finds himself back in on the podium, as he has done a few times this season. Just about defended from Perkis. Delaney's having a great race here. 5th place for him at the moment. Gained 6 places, but he's blinking in and out. And Jeff Perkis probably doesn't know where he's going, but he'll take the position. Probably Jeff will not be too happy about that with the internet connection issues that Delaney's having, but he takes the position as he starts the final lap. Peters will be conscious of that behind him. We've got Bobby Thompson in 6th place as well. He's made his way past Holland at some point. In fact, we got a replay of that. Holland lets by Bobby Thompson, so they are teammates. Perhaps it was a kind of a Jean Todt kind of decision there, where their team manager let through Bobby for the championship situation. But it is for slightly lesser positions in the form of 6th and 7th, so a bit less controversial, I imagine. But this guy has done it again. Another brilliant drive for Mikey Doble. It was looking like Bobby Thompson was having the better of him the last few races or so. He really struggled at Daytona, he struggled in race 1, but this race he overcome the obstacles that were ahead of him in the form of spins and cars he had to pass. But Mikey Doble will take his 4th win of the season here at Oran Park and extend his championship lead. Jonathan Gibbs fought very well, led most of the race, but 2nd for him, still good championship points. Ollie Peters 4th in the championship, further
helps his bid for that position by finishing third. Tom Delaney with his best result of the season, 7 places gained, the most of the field, for 4th place. Jeff Purkis in 5th in the end. Bobby Thompson comes through in 6th. Not too many points lost, but still points lost nonetheless. Dan Holland comes through in 7th. Jamie Dory in 8th. Lee Horn in 9th. Gavin Allen 10th. William Foyle in 11th. And Dave Whitehouse does finish the race. A few laps down, granted, but he will finish the race in 12th to take pole position in the reverse grid formed for race 3. So that was race 2. Race 1 was very much about a few swaps of positions in the form of drama, but in the form of drama in race 2, there were quite a few comings together with certain cars, so something for the stewards to maybe look at. But anyway, here are your results for race 2 of the night. Mikey Doble takes his 4th win of the season from Jonathan Gibbs and Ollie Peters rounding off the podium. Tom Delaney takes 4th with his best result of the season. Jeff Purkis in 5th. Bobby Thompson recovers after mid-race shenanigans, 6th place for him. Dan Holland in 7th. Jamie Dory in 8th place with his teammate behind in 9th place. Gavin Allen 10th with William Foyle in 11th. And 3 laps down but still finished the race, Dave Whitehouse in 12th. That was race 2 of the night, and we'll be back very, very shortly with race 3, a full reverse grid. Don't go away.
The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section.
Welcome back to Oran Park for race 3 of the day for the Next Gen Racing iRacing Season 20 series featuring the Legends. Here at Oran Park tonight for round 8 of the championship. This broadcast is brought to you by myself, Alex Everett, broadcasting on Next Gen's Facebook channel. Hello to you all watching there, and of course Crest Autosports YouTube and Twitch channels. Oran Park tonight was in Eastern Australia, and now demolished track, but its legacy lives on in iRacing, just about 50 kilometers southwest of Sydney, where this track was located, and very popular for its one feature very similar to that of Suzuka, where there is a crossover bridge section. As you can see on the right side of the track there, it's a brilliant track for racing. Difficult to overtake on, but when you do see the overtaking, it is incredibly exciting, as we saw in race 2 just moments ago. But before we get underway with anything, this is how the season has looked so far in terms of events. Brands Hatch started it with Donington Park second, Lime Rock Park followed by Alton Park. Silverstone National Circuit was the halfway point, and just over the halfway point, Snetterton. Last week was the Daytona NASCAR road course, not bike course, and this week is Oran Park, and this race actually coming up is the last of the circuit races for this season, as for next week and in 2 weeks time we'll be moving on to the oval races. Bristol Concrete Motor Speedway will be round 9, the penultimate round, and then the final round will be the Lanier Speed Park, the dirt oval. So 3 mediums of iRacing touched upon in the next 3 weeks here in the Next Gen Racing iRacing Legends series. With circuit racing today, oval racing next week, and in 2 weeks time dirt oval racing. The only one we're missing is Rallycross, dirt circuit. It would have been interesting to see Rallycross in these Legends, but maybe next time. This series is hosted by Jamie Dory of Next Gen Racing. You can find the Next Gen Racing group, spelled as it is in the top left there. Search for the group and you'll find it. That is how you get involved in these series. We have this one on Wednesdays, but also on Fridays is the Next Gen and Grid Engineering GTE series, going to Imola on Friday, and it is broadcast by Jacko Racing. Jack Oliphant being Tom Oliphant's brother. Tom Oliphant was the racer in the British Touring Car Championship. We're about to head into race 3, which is a full reverse grid and a 15-minute race. So here we go for not the final race of the season, but the final circuit race of the season. And the main thing to note with that is, with oval racing and small oval racing and Legends oval racing, it is very difficult to get through the crowds. So that's what we're going to see coming up in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be real nip and tuck. It's going to be a lot of sideways action, but you're not going to see so many cars, the likes of Doble and Thompson, coming through the pack. Or we might. We don't know. I might actually be wrong about that assumption, but it'll be a lot different for the following 2 weeks. A different medium of iRacing, as we mentioned. So enjoy the circuit racing here, the left and right, as it's all left next week and the week after. But the racing will still be exciting, as you're seeing great circuit racers in their enormity in this series take on oval racing. And it'll be interesting to see who blossoms out of the oval racing, as there's 2 different skill sets. As we mentioned, you do get separate I ratings, and I rating is basically your skill ranking, almost. They're scored differently on iRacing, as also is dirt oval racing. So
3 different mediums used. And it'd be interesting to see the drivers who are better at one than the other, and worse at one than the other, potentially. Be very interesting. But a bit of a championship sit rep coming out of race 2 moments ago. We don't have the graphics live on screen for you. We will get that arranged for future seasons. However, Mikey Doble winning race 1 by a fair few positions ahead of Bobby Thompson, who finished 6th. The championship extends to a 19-point gap. It was a 6-point gap going into race 2. It's now a 19-point gap, with Doble extending his championship lead with his 4th win of the season. But Doble will be starting at the back of the grid in this race, as it's a full reverse. Bobby Thompson will be starting around about the mid-pack. We know what Bobby's like. Get himself to the front rather quickly. If he can keep his nose out of trouble, last race he didn't. Involved in an incident with Jamie Dory, which cost a lot of damage, and a lot of positions, and a lot of time, and a lot of points, as we can gather. But we'll see what Thompson can do, what other kind of damage he can do in this race coming up very shortly. The battle for 5th has now raged even more so, with Matt Allen now losing 5th in the championship through missing this race. He is only 5 points behind who is now 5th place, William Foyle, who is 2 points ahead of Jamie Dory. So it's a real head-to-head between those two at this point in the championship. Matt Allen will probably be back for the next 2 weeks to try and make up those points. As we predicted in the last race, Jeff Perkins and Lee Horn have moved themselves into the top 10. They're only 2 points separated from each other, so they're battling on, and at the end of this race they might well find themselves in 8th place and 9th place. So the drivers who have turned up tonight have really done their championship some hopes. We're about to go into race 3 of the night, the final circuit race of the season. So, here is the grid for the final race of the night. We'll show it very shortly. There we go. Dave Whitehouse starts on pole position, with William Foyle behind in 2nd place. Gavin Allen 3rd, with Lee Horn in 4th place. Jamie Dory 5th, with Dan Holland in 6th. Bobby Thompson will start 7th place, with Jeff Perkins in 8th. Tom Delaney in 9th, with Ollie Peters in 10th. 11th, Jonathan Gibbs, and the race winner of the last race, Mikey Doble, starts at the back in 12th. But we're about to get underway here at Oran Park for the final race of the night, and the lights are red. Away we go, just in time. And a start for Dave Whitehouse as he comes away. William Foyle closes in ever so slightly as we come down towards the sweeper corner, the first left-hander on the circuit, which will plunge down into the Coca-Cola curve. William Foyle taking a very wide line coming into the sweeper, and there's a sideways car back there. It's Jamie Dory, and sideways there is Dave Whitehouse. He's stuck on the inside of the corner, as is Tom Delaney, but everybody gets around. William Foyle takes the lead here at Oran Park, with Lee Horn in 2nd place. Dan Holland already making moves up to 3rd place. He goes past Gavin Allen, and behind him is Bobby Thompson. Mikey Doble is up to 8th place already as he makes his way past Ollie Peters. And there's a spin there. Gavin Allen has spun. We'll just get a quick replay of that before we carry on. Coming through the next curve here. Oh, he just slips it sideways and he couldn't... Oh, there's contact actually between him and Bobby Thompson. Oh dear. Anyway, let's carry on. Oh, look at this. Dan Holland's already into the lead. We're going to replay off that, but William Foyle has slowed. Jamie Dory is... Lee Horn is alongside him. Back here, look at that. William Foyle has had to pull off a little bit. Now, let's get a replay. Oh, there's a... No, we've got to go back with that. We've got to go back with that. Oh, I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We just about missed that. Right, let's get back up with the replays. Alright, William Foyle well out of shape. Coming out of the corner there. Was that Bobby Thompson he collected? Yes, it was. Oh, my word. And recovering back onto the track. Perk is spun at the back there as well. Thompson coming back onto the track. Gives William Foyle a little bit of a wave.
Right, well, this has been a very emotional start to this race. Holland leads, Horn is second, Gibbs is third, Doble's in fourth, he's ahead of Thompson again. Thompson's in 7th place, just ahead of Dory and Foyle. Doble is in such a good spot to gain more in the championship, as he's got Gibbs in front of him. Gibbs is the one he overtook in race 2 to take the win. Now, while things rage on a little bit more, let's see if we can get a replay of how Holland took the lead. It was lovely undercut, taking 2 going into this corner here. That is a lovely move from Holland to take the lead in the race. Holland won race 1. Can he win race 3? He comes across the line to complete the lap. Doble is at 9 places in 2 laps already. Thompson has got to get his head down and catch back up. And Thompson caught up in Foyle's spin. Foyle's spinning, just lost a little bit of control of that car and could not recover it. And Thompson couldn't go anywhere. Doble's in front of Gibbs now. Let's see if we can get a replay of Doble passing Gibbs. We have got it somewhere in the bank here. Oh, and Gibbs slipped wide there, slipping sideways, and Doble just takes the move very easily. Now we're all caught up on replays. We get back with the racing. Holland is out in front. Winner of race 1. Leads the way from Lee Horn and pulling away. Mikey Doble is in 3rd place. He might be able to get himself onto the podium. He is on the podium right now. It could be 3 in a row for him. He will be doing what Bobby Thompson did last week. 3 podiums in a row. Gibbs in 4th place there, just ahead of Ollie Peters. Peters had a strong night tonight, just kept his nose out of trouble. He's been one of the drivers who hasn't been involved in any form of contact, as has Mikey Doble, for that matter, and Lee Horn. As Lee Horn locks up going into the Coca-Cola corner, Doble will get a decent undercut, but might not be able to make the move happen just yet. He might be able to set up for a few corners time. As Lee Horn locks up again, just keeps it tight on the apex. The pressure is mounting on Horn as he's defending 2nd place. He can, if Doble gets past, Horn might still be able to hang on to 3rd place. Into the S's. Doble had a much truer line through the corner there, but he's not able to line up a move just yet. Horn is hanging on very well. Runs a little wide going into the 2nd S there. Doble might be able to make the move going into the final corner. Lee Horn gives him room, and that will allow Doble to hang on to the inside and does take the position. Horn slots straight behind to try and get slipstream down the straight here, but 10 places gained for Mikey Doble as he takes 2nd place. He's 3.3 seconds down the road from Dan Holland. A check-up on Bobby Thompson, who's making his way past Tom Delaney now. Inside taken. And 6th place taken. That's where he finished in race 2. So he doesn't want to lose another near 13 points or something like that from Mikey Doble. He's going to have to gain a few more positions. He's 3 seconds down the road from Ollie Peters, who is trying to close in on. It's Tom Delaney ahead of him, but Tom's having some form of connection issues tonight. In fact, no, Tom Delaney has ended up back behind Bobby Thompson. He was ahead a moment ago. So his internet really not working. In 6th place there now. Very strange. But Thompson's now up to 5th place. A few more places to gain if he wants to help his championship bid. Horn is still sticking rather close to Doble. The slipstream helping him, it seems. Lee Horn comes out to break out of the slipstream. Lee Horn is impartial to a bit of a fight, when a good racing tussle, and is not scared to do so with Mikey Doble.
Brakes a bit later than Mikey. Mikey might settle for a second place at the moment. He slipped back a little bit in this last lap or so from Dan Holland, by a second in fact. So it probably wasn't a particularly good lap on the last one for Mikey Doble. But will not be able to close in on first place runner Dan Holland, unless he ups his game a little bit. He is only just under 4 seconds ahead of Bobby Thompson. There is Bobby, trying to close in on Peters ahead of him. Peters, who will hope that Horn and Doble continue to battle as Horn slips back a little bit from Doble. Further back in the pack, we have got Gavin Allen and Jeff Purkis. Green Machine there versus Mystery Machine, and that is the battle for 8th place. Oh, and a hit of the wall there from Gavin Allen. Jeff Purkis, who started pole in race 2. Horn is not able to keep up with Mikey Doble at the moment as the sun sets in Australia here. After our trip to Australia here today, next week we're over to the United States of America again. The final 2 rounds. Through the S's, Lee Horn goes. Let's take a look back here. Ollie Peters and Bobby Thompson getting closer together, but it is Peters who's slipping back from Holland, and Thompson who's not really gaining on his rivals ahead. But Peters is coming closer and closer to him. Down the main straight. This is the view from Thompson. The blue Crest Autosport machine of Ollie Peters ahead of him. Just ahead there you can see Mikey Doble and Lee Horn. Peters starting to defend as Thompson closes in on the blue car ahead. Taking much deeper lines through the corner. Up to the bridge, and he might try the inside of Peters right away, and Peters closes the door. But runs wide, coming out of the corner. Thompson's going to try and find the inside still. Peters just about hanging on to it, but Thompson will get the undercut. Slips it sideways and just about avoids the rear of Peters. It's not over between these two. Good run coming out of the Momo corner there for Thompson, but he's not able to get alongside just yet. He tries a little bit of an undercut coming out the S's here into the Recaro corner. He is not able to get the inside just yet. Holland sets a 1:15.8. Doble will set a quicker lap time by 3/10. But look at this, Thompson is now finding the inside of Peters coming down towards the first corner. There we go, he'll have the inside. Peters will try and fight back, tucking right behind Thompson, looking both ways. Thompson stretched away a little bit there. Oh, there's a bit of contact on the rear of Thompson there from Peters, but nothing that Thompson's worried about. He gets through the corner, and Peters will have to try and latch onto the back of Thompson, as Thompson will try and close in on Lee Horn, who slipped that back a bit. He's now a second behind Mikey Doble. Thompson, although he'll probably finish behind Doble in the race here and lose more championship points, he wants as many championship points as he can from this race, with only 6 races to go after tonight. This being race number 24, the 30 race season we've got. It has been a bit of a frustrating night for Bobby. Pole position was his, a brilliant performance in qualifying to do that, but lost the win to Dan Holland in race 1, and then collisions in this and the previous race, race 2, have just hampered his performances. But Mikey Doble has been a top driver tonight, just keeping his nose out of trouble, and
is on course to have all 3 steps of the podium as it stands. 3rd, 1st and 2nd. He's not gaining on Dan Holland, and even if he did start gaining on Holland, he probably wouldn't catch him by the end of the race. Nearly 5 seconds behind now. There will be 2 laps to go after this one. Horn will just be trying to hang on to 3rd place at the moment, as there's a battle for 8th place between Perkis, Foyle and Gavin Allen. The way things stand at the moment, Lee Horn will take 8th place from Jeff Perkis and Stephen Daly, jumping 2 places at the end of this race as it stands, and Jamie Dory will take 5th place from William Foyle in the championship. Straight. Perkis goes to the fend with 2 laps to go now. Oh, and Foyle, just a little touch of the grass there, had to recover it. Allen right behind, very scruffy lines from the front 2 cars there going into that corner, but Perkis hanging on for grim death ahead of William Foyle. Battle for 8th place at the moment, as we mentioned. Perkis, and I've battled with him many times, is very, very, very tricky to overtake. Fights relentlessly, gives you the minimalist amount of room, whilst being fairly fair. Fairly fair is a little bit of a strange adjective, but to start the final lap, Dan Holland. Big buffer ahead of Mikey Doble, and it is on course to be a 2nd win of the night for him. A strong showing from him. Mikey Doble in 2nd place will extend his championship lead, but Thompson is gaining rapidly on Horn, whose tyres seem to have slipped away in the last lap or so. Something happened to Ollie Peters just then. He's disappeared off my screen. I think that might have been a disconnection of some sorts from Ollie Peters. And the final lap of this race, that is very, very odd indeed. Hopefully we can find out very shortly. But we have got to skip to the front. Holland leaves the final corner. 5 seconds clear. And 2 wins tonight. Holland takes race 3 at Oran Park here. Brilliant night's racing for him in his brand new sparkly livery. Mikey Doble in his brand new sparkly livery extends his championship lead at the top, finishing 2nd here and a 3rd podium of the night. Lee Horn takes 3rd place. He'd be very pleased with that. Bobby Thompson 4th place for what's been, for him, a below par night. He has been involved in incidents here and there, but I'm sure he'll be bouncing back next week. Jamie Dory takes 5th place. Tom Delaney 6th. William Foyle in 7th. Jeff Perkis in 8th. Gavin Allen in 9th. Ollie Peters did not finish by what's on my screen here. He was running on the final lap, but a disconnection happened, it seems. Very, very strange. I mean, he's got a big cushion in the championship when in 4th place, but it's far from ideal. But we have got the results classified, and here they are for race 3 of the night. Dan Holland takes the win by 5 seconds, more than 5 seconds ahead of Mikey Doble in 2nd place, who's had 3 podiums tonight. Lee Horn with, I think it's his 2nd podium of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lee. 4th place for Bobby Thompson. 5th place for the league host, Jamie Dory. Tom Delaney, an impressive night for him. 6th place. William Foyle in 7th with Jeff Perkis in 8th. Gavin Allen 9th. Ollie Peters 10th. David Whitehouse in 11th. 12th.
to Jonathan Gibbs. And the last 3 there, Peters, Whitehouse and Gibbs, DNFs for them. So that has been round 8 of the Next Gen Power Max Racing iRacing Legends Series. Next week, we move on to the ovals. Bristol Motor Speedway is next week. Do tune in for that. It's going to be an incredible final 2 weeks of this championship. I've been Alex Everett, your commentator tonight from Crest Autosport. This has been Next Gen Racing iRacing Legends. Tune in on Friday to Jacko Racing to watch the Next Gen GTE Series, or we'll see you in a week's time for round 9 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Good night.